Day 4 of Buffalo Bills training camp has officially wrapped up, and this is everything you need to know. As always, we start with the injury list, and Dawson Knox, Cedric Van Perenganger, Spencer Brown, and Laviska Shenault were all still absent from practice today. However, I will add, 5 minutes before I'm making this video, Dawson Knox and Laviska Shenault both just got activated from the non-football injury list, so they should be back at practice tomorrow. Some new additions to the injury report today, unfortunately, were Curtis Samuel and Terrell Bernard, who both had hamstring injuries that kept them out of practice today. In addition, today was a veteran rest day for Teron Johnson, who he did not practice. Then we have 2 updates on some previous injuries that happened in practice. So AJ Epineza, who suffered an ankle injury on Friday's practice, or on Thursday's practice, and he missed Friday's practice, he was back today from his ankle injury. But we got some bad news. Dorian Williams, who injured his hamstring the other day, he was actually seen in a boot today on his calf. Then we had 2 more injuries that happened during practice. So Tyrell Shavers was carted off with an ankle injury after a touchdown catch he had on Maxwell Hairston. Now, luckily, it's just a low ankle sprain, so he should be fine. However, him getting carted off was kind of a scary scene. Caden Prather, the Buffalo Bills' 7th round pick, he started limping off after a play, and he ended up coming back out with tape on his upper left leg, and he was out for the rest of practice. With all those injuries out of the way, we have the Chris Tabor press conference. He is the Buffalo Bills special teams coordinator, and the first topic of conversation was just him coming back to the NFL this year after having a year off. He said the reason why he wanted to come back to the NFL and come to Buffalo is because Buffalo is a special place and he wants to be here. So as you guys know, Jake Camarda, the Buffalo Bills' second punter, was released just a couple of days ago on the first day of training camp because the Bills had to sign a backup tight end because of Dawson Knox injury. Now that Dawson Knox will be back, that guy will probably be gone. But Chris Tabor said that the punting competition is not over, that Jake Camarda is staying ready, and Brad Robbins has not won the job, who is right now the only punter on the roster. However, he did mention that he does have good hang time on his punts, good direction with his punts. So he's praising Brad Robbins, but he's also saying he has not won the job yet, and Jake Camarda is still staying ready just in case of anything. He also talks about how good returners in the league are kind of at a premium, and that a good returner can really change the entire game in a heartbeat, which I believe that he could be alluded towards Brendan Codrington, because he was a fantastic returner for the Buffalo Bills last season. I think the main focus for him is just going to be finding the right guy to be the kick returner and punt returner. The last note that he had for the media was this is the first day that the Buffalo Bills will be wearing shoulder pads, and they're not going to be fully decked out in pads from head to toe, but they are wearing shoulder pads. So it's the next step towards them getting ready into full pads, into full tackling, and full contact. And now we are getting into the practice notes, and I'll start off by telling you guys where each player was starting during the day. So Cam Lewis was a starting nickel over Jordan Hancock because of the Teron Johnson veteran rest day, which really isn't a surprise. We want Jordan Hancock to be able to compete with Cam Lewis, but Cam Lewis has been here for longer, so him starting is not very much of a surprise. And Ryan Van DeMark was starting at right tackle over Tylen Grable today, and I think he was playing there for basically a majority of the day. So I think that Tylen Grable might be being pushed back to right tackle 2 and right tackle 3 once Spencer Brown comes back. And because of the injuries to Dorian Williams and Terrell Bernard, which is very unfortunate once again, Shaq Thompson and Balin Spector getting reps with the ones, and actually Brendan Codrington was getting reps with the ones. And the reason why Codrington getting reps with the ones is so important is because you guys know he was our returner last year, and he was kind of a return specialist. He was not getting many snaps at cornerback, and when he did, he really was not that great. But if he can start to develop at that cornerback position and be able to be more versatile in the Bills' defense, I think him making the roster will become a lock. And some quick side notes before we get into the actual 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 portion of practice. Matt Milano was just looking really, really good today. He was playing light on his feet and moving around like he did when he was that all-pro guy. So hopefully we get that version of Matt Milano back. I mean, he was good last year, but if you get the all-pro Matt Milano back, that would change a lot of things for this defense. In addition, tight end coach Rob Boris had a lot of vocal praise for Jackson Hollis during their blocking individual drills. Now, Jackson Hollis was drafted by the Buffalo Bills in, I believe, the 5th round. And he's a blocking specialist at that tight end position. But Rob Boris was really being vocal about how good he was at blocking. So I think that he's almost a lock to make the team. Now, I know I said there was a competition between him and Zach Davidson for the tight end 3 spot. But I think because of the fact that the Bills are a run-heavy offense and Jackson Hollis is a elite blocker at the tight end position, I think he's going to be making the team without a doubt. And last but not least, Sean McDermott was just very hands-on coaching with Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop today. I think the reason for that is the Bills' safety position has been elite ever since Sean McDermott walked into the doors at one Bills drive. I think he wants to make sure that continues with these 2 new guys, Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop. And obviously they're not new guys. They've been on the team for a couple of years now. But Taylor Rapp, he's going to have to take that next step into being a superstar for the Bills. And Cole Bishop going to year number 2, he's going to have to stay healthy, get on the field, and become that star that the Bills know he can be. The focal point of practice today was Keon Coleman and his development in year number 2. So day 1, he's going up against Christian Benford most of the day, and he did not look good. But ever since then, he's been getting better and better. And today was his best day of practice, probably as a pro. So Keon Coleman today probably had around 6 or 7 receptions with a touchdown. His first reception was a corner route against Trey White. We caught a 20-yard pass on the sideline, which was very, very nice to see. He had a second completion or reception against Trey White. It was around a 7-yard hitch route. Beautiful stop, and he made the catch on Trey White, which is good to see. Then he also had a beautiful contested catch on the sideline against Dorian Strong. And I don't believe this one was a touchdown, but on another play, Josh Allen threw a back shoulder pass to Keon Coleman that ended up being a touchdown on the front pylon. And I must say, Keon Coleman was the most utilized wide receiver today by far. And unfortunately, Joshua Palmer, who has been very, very good throughout training camp so far, he was kind of off the mark with Josh Allen today. Josh Allen tried to throw past him over in the seam, kind of overshot him. That connection, while it's been good at times, is very inconsistent. So the one thing that they just need to work on is their consistency, but otherwise they should be fine. Dalton Kincaid looks to be getting a little bit more comfortable in this Buffalo Bills offense as well. He caught a 20-yard touchdown on a crossing route early on in 7-on-7s from Josh Allen, and he also caught another deep crossing route from Josh Allen later in practice. So it looks like that connection is really building up in year number 3. And as you guys know, year number 3 is kind of the year for breakouts for tight ends. So Dalton Kincaid could be continuing that trend this year. Joey Bosa, who you guys know had that calf injury in the spring, he's good to go now. But like I said, he's going to be on a rep plan for training camp. So he was actually off to the side today during our 11-on-11s and did not do much during team drills. As you guys know, there are a lot of defensive guys missing from practice today. But as a result, Shaq Thompson and Balin Spector got a lot of time with the ones. And actually, one specific play, Shaq Thompson broke up a pass from Josh Allen, and Balin Spector picked it off. And as you guys know, Balin Spector did not have the best year last year. So seeing that from him in training camp is good to see. Now, personally, I don't think he'll get meaningful snaps with the Bills this year just because he was really not that great last season. But if he's getting interception on Josh Allen on day 1 of him starting, there could be some good signs with Balin Spector. I want to talk about the running backs really quickly, the backup ones specifically. Ty Johnson and Ray Davis both had 25-plus yard rushes on the defense today. So, obviously, James Cook is he started this year. But for whatever reason, this is somehow his last year in Buffalo, which I hope they get an extension done with him. Ray Davis and Ty Johnson are 2 great options for the Bills at running back, just in case James Cook can't play or isn't back after the season. But even with James Cook here, they were the perfect complements to him. So I really think this running back room will be fantastic and even better than they were last year. Now I want to talk about Cam Lewis and Jordan Hancock. And like I told you guys, Cam Lewis got the start at nickel, which isn't all that surprising because he's been on the team for a long amount of time and he's winning that competition right now without a doubt. But Cam Lewis had a blitz where he got right through the line and he broke up a pass on Josh Allen. But then also Jordan Hancock on another play broke right through the line on a blitz and he was going to have a would-be sack on Mitch Trubisky. So both these guys fighting for that spot. Cam Lewis, Jordan Hancock both doing an amazing job. That competition is only going to make each and every single one of them better. I know I talked about that Keon Coleman catch on Dorian Strong before, but I have not put enough emphasis on how good of a camp that Dorian Strong has been having through my videos. But he has been having a great camp so far. And today, without any pads, without any contact, he forced a fumble on Zach Davidson. And that is very impressive because, as you guys know, you can't make contact in these practices. So being able to force a fumble is very, very impressive. Now let's shift to this defensive line. Javon Solomon had a very good day today. He had a would-be sack on Mitch Trubisky. He won on the inside. Would have had that would-be sack. And Greg Rousseau also, very good run stopper. He forced a bunch of runs from James Cook back to the inside. He made a lot of stops on him today. And I also want to mention that the Bills were working a lot on 5-man blitzes and different kind of pressure stunts that they have not been using in recent years. And it's kind of a philosophy change because the Bills, you guys know, they really only ran 4-man pressures. They're working a lot today on 5-man blitzes, 5-man pressures. And I believe there's a note that there's even one 6-man pressure that they were working on. The play of the day had to go to Jamarcus Ingram on a Mike White pass to what would have been Zach Davidson. It was supposed to be a 20-plus yard seam route. It would have been a wide open touchdown. But at the last moment, Jamarcus Ingram jumped in front of Zach Davidson, took the ball out of his hands, and made a huge interception. Jamarcus Ingram was not the most consistent player for the Bills last season, but he had that pick 6 against Tua in Miami. Of course, it's not the best throw at all, but he still had that pick 6 against Miami. He's making a big play in training camp so far. So I think that there's a chance that he could make the team and then actually contribute to the Bills this upcoming season. But now I want to shift gears back to the offense. We're on Tyrell Shaver's first rep with the first team offense. He caught a 20-yard pass from Josh Allen. I think this could finally be the year where Tyrell Shavers gets that last wide receiver 6 spot. His 69-yard touchdown against the New York Jets in Week 18 of last season was so spectacular that I think that Tyrell Shavers really has a good chance of being a contributor for the Buffalo Bills on offense in 2025. And seeing him make plays in training camp just only further proves that. I also want to make note that the Bills have been running a lot of screen plays in practice, and they're having continued success with them, which is way different from recent years. The Bills have not been able to be good at those screen plays, but in training camp they've been working on them, and it's looking like they're doing pretty good at them. There were 3 reps at the end of practice that were all against Maxwell Hairston, and the first of the 3 reps was a Jalen Virgil in route where he kind of broke Maxwell Hairston's ankles, got wide open. However, he did drop the ball. Then on the second rep, Maxwell Hairston went up against Tyrell Shavers on a 2-point conversion, kind of smothered him and knocked that ball away. Then on that third rep, Tyrell Shavers made a fantastic one-handed catch in the end zone over Maxwell Hairston, but on the way down, I guess he tweaked his ankle. He went down, he was in pain, he could not put any weight on it. He was carted off the field. Very unfortunate, but like I said at the start of the video, it's only a low ankle sprain, so he should be good to go, probably within like a week or 2. The last note that I have from practice is that Tyler Bass went 4 for 8 on field goals, which is not good. However, it was pouring rain, so I'll give him, a little bit of leniency. However, he got 4 for 8, no matter the conditions. Really not good from Tyler Bass. He needs to have a better day tomorrow. Now, we had 2 press conferences to end the day. The first one being Connor McGovern. And the one thing that he really said that stood out to me was he was comparing Deion Walker to Jordan Phillips. Now, obviously, I don't think he's comparing him to the old man Jordan Phillips who's getting hurt all the time. I think he's comparing him to the 2019 version of Jordan Phillips, who's just imposing his will on the defense, an absolute monster who was just, he got 9.5 sacks for the Buffalo Bills in 2019. I think if Deion Walker can be anywhere like what Jordan Phillips was in 2019, I'm very happy with the pickup. And then we had a Khalil Shakir press conference where he was telling the media what he was kind of working on in the offseason and what the focus for him was as his first step quickness, his burst, his speed, his new releases, and then just getting separation on defenders. He also talked about Keon Coleman, and like I said, he had a great day of practice today. And in quotes from Khalil Shakir, dude put on a show, and that he did. Shakir's also saying how he's become more of a vocal leader, telling the guys that they have to do their job in order for the offense to produce, even if you know you're not getting the ball. And that just goes back to the saying, everybody eats. And his last comment was just him praising Joe Brady and how much he loves him, because when Joe Brady took over at offensive coordinator for Ken Dorsey in the 2023 season, Khalil Shakir says that is what made his career take off. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Buffalo Bills content. This video will be coming out daily for you guys. We're only 3 subs away from 700. So if you guys could help me get there by tomorrow's video, it would be greatly appreciated. But I'll see you guys in the next one.